Drip, we changed our minds. We were going to talk about GTA 6 today and how it was going to be on the Switch 2 not be on Switch 2. But last night, after the show that we did live last night, as we do every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on this channel, I found a YouTube video. Blow my mind is a bit of a stretch, but it's certainly big. And I'm surprised. Maybe
it's huge.
It's only 10:30 in the morning in my time here the morning after the show last night. So maybe the videos are coming. This is insane. So a YouTuber called Geekerwan apparently found, and I'm gonna link his video down below because we're referencing it and using screenshots and stuff from it. He and his crew managed to find what website was it, Drew? I don't remember what website. It was
eBay.
Chinese eBay is what he said. It was Chinese eBay, like special.
Okay, yeah, not actual eBay, but whatever. Still, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's insane.
So he found
How does something like that go up on there?
An entire Switch 2 motherboard on eBay in China, and their team managed to get it in, ripped it apart, and a little bit physically too. It looks like they ripped off the top of the CPU so they could really see what's going on inside.
Yeah, because they were trying to see what the manufacturing process was. If it was the 5 nanometer or 8 nanometer or 10. Yeah. And it turns out it's none of those. It's a hybrid of two of them, which is crazy.
Yeah, and there's tons of nerdy stuff in this video, which Drip and I are not qualified to talk about.
No. I mean, I know a little bit about some of it just because I've been looking into it, but
we're not qualified to regurgitate it to the people. That's what you guys should go click on Geekerwan's video to get the very specific details. But if you want a shorter version, we're gonna wrap. Actually, this video might be longer than that. But if you want our opinions on this, we're gonna give them to you. And a couple really interesting things to note of this video here. And the first one that I want to bring up here, Drip, is the simple fact that the name of this chip that they got off of this board, the name of this chip is the same name we've been hearing for years, which is the Tegra T239.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Before we even go there, before we even get that far in, how the hell does something like this end up on the internet to buy?
Well,
how?
So it's in China. It was China's eBay. So this came out of China. So they're manufacturing these things. So somebody smuggled it out, Drip. It's really not that hard to conceive.
That is crazy.
I have a theory.
Went up on the internet and wasn't taken down?
Yeah, here's my theory. I think what happened was some higher level employee who works at a manufacturing plant planned this out like a heist, and it brought in like a laptop with it empty inside, unscrewed it, put this thing inside of it, screwed it back up to make it look like it was all part of the same laptop. Because when they go through security, obviously, this is my business laptop, and nothing's going to be suspicious about it if there's computer parts inside your laptop. So that's my completely unbased in any fact theory of what happened here. I don't think it's that.
Yeah,
I don't think
sounds like you've done that before. You know way too much about that.
I'll tell you what.
I
haven't done it before, but I thought about it because I worked at Amazon. I swear I have not stolen from Amazon. I promise. I'm not an asshole. But I have thought about this because I went through security every single day. And I saw other people go through security. I'm like, how are they allowed to just bring in their phones and laptops when I'm not? Oh, it's because we're low-wage employees and you don't trust us because fuck you. But anyway, what were we talking about?
The T239.
The T239.
They were talking about the T239 back when the OLED came out. Before it, maybe. Or maybe it was around the same time or maybe a little after. You know when it was, actually? I remember when it was. It was around the time that Switch Sports came out. That was about the time I think we started hearing about it, if I remember correctly. That's when those rumors started coming up that there was a chip that was supposedly going to be in the Switch Pro or whatever the revision was going to be. And I think the OLED was already out at that time. But this is when it started to pick up steam, like, oh, there's this chip. That's also when we started saying, I wonder if this is what was supposed to be in the OLED. And I think now that you mentioned, this chip obviously was started to be manufactured in 2021.
That's right. That's from his video here. I forget exactly how he managed to figure that one out. I think there's like a literal number stamped.
Yeah,
there's a date.
There's a
date like micro printed onto this thing. There's a date stamped, and it's 2021, which lines up with everything you and I have been saying for the past 4 years, is that the OLED was always supposed to be the Switch 2, and because of
Switch Pro,
Switch Pro, and because of COVID, things got derailed. So like literally because of COVID, our Switch gaming has been derailed 4 entire years.
Yeah, and they're still using. That's another thing that's kind of crazy too. The Tegra X1 was like old whenever they put it in the Switch. Now this again, the T239 old, and they're putting it in the Switch too. It's kind of scary, because we saw what happened with the Switch, and we know now that this chip is like 5 years old or gonna be.
Yeah.
That's a little scary, but at the same time, you can see how much more power it has. If you watch the video, he's got like charts and stuff, and we'll kind of like touch on those, but it's got so much more power than the original Switch. And it's cool to see that you know, with the stuff he did there, you can actually see on his charts like how much more power we're talking here. But developers have said this thing is way easier to work with. So hopefully the old hardware, being as old as it is, isn't going to hinder developers as much as it did on the Switch 1.
The GPU. We have stats from him. Again, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of the nerdy things and how he got these numbers and how he's even able to figure this stuff out, again, click the link in the video to watch it. But we want to highlight, of course, towards the top of the screen is the Xbox Series S. This is the GPU performance. This is the graphical processing unit. Things that process graphics, you know, the video games in the Switch 2. And this is raw power. We'll get to that in a moment, what that means exactly. But the Xbox Series S is, well, this is raw power for the Switch 2. Everything else is what they got because all these other products are real. But the Xbox Series S at the very top, not surprising, above everything else. I don't think I really expected the GPU in this thing to be much more, really to be on par with the Series S in terms of raw power. You're showing.
So it's Series S, not X.
Correct. This is Series S.
He's showing. Yeah. Okay. So it's still well under the Series S.
Yeah, raw. It's under the Series S in raw power, but not by much. The numbers here, the GPU, the Series S is 3768, so 3,000, just over 38 or just under 3,800. Whatever, gigawatts is what we'll call it. But the Switch
1.21 gigawatts.
The Switch 2 is at 2,200 gigawatts. So like it's close. And in between that, we have the GTX 1050 Ti, which is a pretty old graphics card, but still. The Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is a phone processor. The Radeon 780M, which is a graphics processing for a computer, and then the Series S. So the big computers are in, like, low power computers are in between the Switch 2 and the Series S. And below the Switch 2, I find some interesting things here. The Apple A18 Pro, which is their phone processor. The Apple M1 is below. The M1
is a beast. It's a beast.
It's below the Switch 2, which blows my mind. But Apple
docked.
And this is what is this? Is this dock mode? Yeah, it's all dock. This is dock mode stuff.
Because you can see the handheld one's lower there too. It's under the, and it's right under the Steam Deck too. But again, raw power.
Raw power, correct.
But that's all the Steam Deck has is the raw power.
Yeah, and then a lot below there is the Steam Deck, which is a good bit below. It's 1443 gigawatts. So I don't know what these numbers mean. I just know they're numbers, and higher is better.
Yeah, it's gigawatts for sure. 1.21.
Yeah. So Steam Deck is below raw power, and that's to be expected. I mean, we knew that, but people in our comments don't know that apparently. People who are being jerks to me.
Yes. The Steam Deck. Yeah, the Steam Deck is below in docked mode, handheld mode.
Correct.
Raw power. They're really close to the same. Switch 2 is a little under, but again, this is before DLSS upscaling. This is before all the optimization that goes into making a dedicated console game. So,
well, hold on. Let me stop right there, because the Switch 2, this is simulated, of course. None of this is actual. I guess we should mention that as well. Is this is not completely confirmed stuff, right? This is stuff that is not exactly confirmed. It is just like his estimations based off, he has the thing in his hands. He's doing his best to get the data for us, but this is not an exact representation of what it's going to be. Likely it'll be better than what he's showing us.
Yeah.
There's not likely it'll be worse. More likely it's going to be even better than what he's showing us, or just kind of on par. He could be very good at what he does. But anyway, the Steam Deck at 1443 gigawatts, whereas the Switch 2 in handheld is at 1300 gigawatts. It's really not that far off. Like, it's really super close. Handheld, the GPU performance, and the Steam Deck Because the Steam Deck is pretty much the same thing. It uses more power in dock mode, but it doesn't really improve the chip all that much, I don't think. That I'm not sure about.
The Steam Deck? No. I remember plugging that thing into a TV and
it's like the same thing. It's like you take what's on the screen and blow it up. It doesn't really do much in dock mode other than supply more power.
I think that was the point when I was I think that was the point when I was like, I don't really need
I never played anything on Steam Deck with dock mode that was impressed me. There was always the screen and the handheld, the dock and the screen was the same experience for me.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was cool. I mean, it's just not my thing. It's not my thing. But that is crazy.
And one more thing, Drip, before I let you speak, one more thing is that the PS4 is below all of those. The PS4 is way down there at 1,200 gigawatts.
Right.
Well
simulated.
Below, of course, well below the Switch 2. So like... So far, Steam Deck GPU and the PS4 GPU way below the Switch 2.
Yeah, in docked
mode.
Still, I mean, PS4 still below in handheld as well, that's crazy.
Yes.
And again, I want to bring this up again. Even he says in the video, we're linking that below. Make sure you watch the whole video because he does talk about the fact, like I said, the fact that it is a dedicated console, then they're developing for a dedicated console. You can do a whole lot more stuff when you know what you're working with, when you know what that thing can do, what you can do with it, the things you need to give it to make it do better things. It's optimization. And that's something that the Steam Deck doesn't really have. I mean, I guess it, optimized for Steam Deck is a thing, but I mean, it's still a PC game that's scalable on so many different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not built, these games that are going to be on this thing are built directly for the system, like Cyberpunk. If we can get into that, he did show his simulations of, he's using basically a PC to show what this thing's actually going to like be as far as as close as he can get to the specs. And I will say this, I told you before we started recording this, the footage he shows of Cyberpunk is not as good as the footage I saw live playing from the Switch 2.
And so, I think he not that exact wording, but he does kind of confirm that what you're saying. Like he kind of he tells you straight up, like what you're seeing is a simulation as best as we can do it, but it's not
right.
It doesn't factor in at all any optimizations whatsoever that Nintendo's able to do, which obviously, or I guess CD Projekt Red, I should say, is able to do. So they're like what you're seeing, if you're impressed by it, which I'll tell you right now, I was when I watched it last night. Now, I watched it with my rose-colored glasses and also knowing that it was going to be better than what I'm looking at. If I purchased this for $70, I'd be kind of upset. If I'm being honest with you, if I purchased this and this was my $70 experience, I'd be upset. But I know it's going to be more stable frame rates than what you're looking at, and it's going to be higher res and look better polished overall than what you're looking at. It's quite impressive to imagine what this is going to look like. And this is really good. Crazy. This is really good imagery. You're looking on the screen right now. This is really good imagery of what it's going to be like in 27 days, whatever it is, which is insane. And this is a third-party game. This, if you're like, oh my god, it looks like crap. Yeah, but at least this is a third-party game. The first-party stuff, oh my god, I can't even wait.
Well, and it's crazy because I don't know. They're just going to be able to do so much more with all the things they have available to them now. Like Donkey Kong. It doesn't look like groundbreaking. That's a pun that was intended. But the fact that the ground breaks in all those places and there's so much destruction going on and like everything, like they have so much more in there. And that's not really GPU. That's the other stuff in there. But it just shows how much more power this thing has, what it can handle doing. And it's cool that Nintendo's taking it that way. Instead of focusing directly on like, let's make it look amazing. Like, let's make it fun. Let's make it cool where you can do things that we could never do before because we have this much power. I mean, I think, honestly, we know the first-party games are going to be good. That was never a worry. But this type of stuff here shows you, like, games are going to run on this thing. Like, it may not be the prettiest experience, but they are going to be just fine. It's not going to be like Switch 1 versions of whatever game, impossible port that's like, oh, cute. They got it running on a Switch. That's nice. No, this is going to be a viable place to play these games. That's awesome.
Yeah, so let's move on to the CPU. I got the graph up here from his video. The CPU is an interesting one as well. Of course, at the top of the list, he has a PS5. which is 7,400 gigawatts, which is insane. That's very high. The Steam Deck is right below that at 4,300 gigawatts. And then you got
the gigawatts, man. I can't. They're crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going down, and as you can see, if you're watching this, the simulated Switch 2 handheld is actually a little bit higher than docked for CPU, which I find interesting. That could just be like outlier data, from who knows exactly. It just goes to show you that these are not exact numbers. We're just getting ballparks, right? But it's fun that we know at least the ballparks here, which is why this is so cool. The Switch 2 in docked mode I'll focus on is 2,700 gigawatts. A lot smaller. Just get over it. I'm going to say it. You get over it. It's a lot slower than the Steam Deck at 4,300 gigawatts. So, yes. And he kind of talked about this in his video. He's a little bit bummed out for the CPU. It's a little bit lower than he was expecting. But, bring it back to a positive, look at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, PS4
Switch. And Switch in the original Switch. PS4 is 900, we'll just say 1,000 gigawatts, and the Switch 1 is only 480 gigawatts, which is a lot. Hey, if you can do math, that's a lot lower than 2,700 gigawatts. A lot lower. It's not that
a lot lower than 2,800 gigawatts too.
Indeed, and as he points out, it's not the 10 times better that Nvidia has been touting. But again, if you factor in some DLSS, which these numbers don't, I mean, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. And yes, raw power. Sure, it's not. It's not like on PS5 or Steam Deck level, but that's what we were talking about. Is once you incorporate that DLSS magic, you get what you're seeing on the screen matches. It's all that matters. The raw power doesn't matter. These numbers don't really matter to me. I'm excited to see where they're at, especially the GPU is a lot more better than I was expecting. The CPU kind of where I was expecting, honestly. But it's where what the final product, what you're looking at on the screen, that's what's going to really make the biggest difference, because that's what you're looking at. That's what you're playing, not the number. You're not playing the numbers. You're playing what you're seeing on the screen.
I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I'm still just shocked that someone like this, who can break this down and take it to somebody and open the thing up and look inside and got their hands on it that easy. It's insane. And I'll tell you what's even more crazy. The fact that every single leak from like 2021 till the time they decided to show this thing in January was absolutely 100% correct.
It's
about every one of them. It's in
between. It's above a Steam Deck and it's below a Series S, which is exactly what we've been hearing for at least months.
Well, and just if not even down to like the parts.
Yes, the Tegra 239.
The T239 thing.
That was
years ago. And people were like, "Oh, is it going to be and he compares this thing to a lot of other things on the market now. And says like this is I'm pretty sure his conclusion was this is like a great choice for this. It fits the platform well. It's gonna do what it needs to do. It's just insane that we had all these leaks, all this stuff happening years and years and years ago. Like Nintendo, for as much as they like to surprise people and do the things they do, they're terrible at keeping secrets, man. They're awful. This entire lead up to the Switch 2 has been leaked. Everything. Mm-hmm. Even the stuff we were like, we'll see what happens when it gets there. Like, we're coming back around now. Here it is. 100% true. The exact chip.
One thing I'm a bit sour on, and it's going to lead me to my next point. It's old. We talked about that. This is a 4-year-old chip.
Yeah, it's basically 5 years by the time we get into this. Yeah.
That's a little worrisome. We're not dealing with brand new chip, which we don't usually do that anyway with Nintendo products. It's normally just stuff that's a little bit older, but the processor is something that we were thinking was, which is still true. Nvidia was building it for the Switch. This is it's not just like an old car LiDAR CPU or whatever, a calculator CPU, whatever this thing was supposed to be in the old Switch 1 chip. It's not just repurposed. It's for the system, built for the system, but it is old because it was supposed to be out in 2021. But yeah, it's old. That's concerning. Here's my next point. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna be chanting for a Switch 2 Pro anytime soon. But like we're gonna need one. We're gonna need one.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do
within the next 5 years minimum.
Yeah. Well, think about this though. Think about this.
Maximum? Fucking soon.
Listen to this. Let me put this. Let me put this into your brain. You just said something that is very true about Nintendo is they don't really use a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
But if that was true and this chip was meant for the Switch OLED to be the Pro, that was new. They meant to use something new.
Yes.
Like that was the plan, to use something new. If
custom
this is
new.
True.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know for sure. This could have still just been like in the background, the Switch 2 being developed, and the OLED was, we could be wrong. This could have been the story the whole time, and they were planning on using this older thing because they knew when it came into manufacturing that it would be cheaper. It could be the same old Nintendo doing the same old things. But if it's not, think about what that upgrade, that Switch 2 Pro could have in it. Like if they're really going to be like, okay, it's time, like we're going to use something modern, or even like, I don't know, even like the Switch 3, or if they're even going to go that route, if they're just going to do an incremental upgrade and just, I mean, who knows? Who knows? I'm just saying it's interesting to think about this now, knowing it's possible that they plan to use a new piece of tech inside their console instead of something old. That's crazy.
Do you know the first thing I think about when you say that? I'm excited, don't get me wrong, but the first thing I think about is, oh boy, what's it going to cost?
Cha-ching!
What's it going to cost? Because the Switch 2 as it is $450.
Yeah.
So like,
well, I mean, then do you start getting into the prices of the other like PC handhelds and stuff?
I think
you're right up there with them at that point.
I think you're right up there with the the $600, $700 price.
Yeah, the $700. Yeah,
I think the next product, if there's a Switch 2 Pro, it's $599 minimum.
Yeah, I
because we know that
totally
the industry is not lowering prices. We just made our video on Xbox earlier this week. We're going up in price. In fact, not going down, which is the only time in gaming industry history that's happening. Right now is a unique time in gaming history. Normally, prices go down in the later generation. Prices are not going up.
You get the slim versions, this and that, and they're cheaper because they can be manufactured easier. Mm-hmm. And that's still the case, but the prices aren't going down there. They're going the other way.
The world economy is going, and actually going down, which is making things higher. We're not talking about that. But we are going to talk about is the fact that, I'm disappointed because while it's exciting, it is that we need a Switch 2 Pro within the next, I'm going to say 3 years. We need to be an announcement. And then hopefully it releases by 2029. We need a Switch 2 Pro by 2029. Or else I fear that we're going to run into the exact same problems that we have with the Switch 1 era, which is by 2029.
Yeah,
there's going to be games coming out that we want to play that you can't because your Switch 2 has a processor from 2021.
They can't sit on the same thing the entire generation this time. They're going to have to move up. I think that was the plan last time. They just had to hold on because of circumstances. Man, think about how cool it's, I mean, we can see the CPU performance is higher in handheld mode. The GPU not, but still very good. Think about this, dude. Think about the light version of this. How cool that's going to be to have that type of power in something that small.
And what's the price?
Just a little tiny,
400.
We'll see. Yeah. I mean,
it might be $50 discount.
350.
I don't know if we see a light version for a few years. I think they might put the Pro out before the light.
The light might, I don't know. I want the light first, honestly.
I know you do, but I'm saying I think to get costs down on the light so they can actually be the cheaper option that we all want it to be.
I don't know if it's a viable option for them to make.
I don't think it literally. I don't think they
now.
Yeah, I don't think they literally could. I don't think they could make the light today at a cheaper price. It would be the same price roughly.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. I mean, these processes will change, and the way that they make these things will get easier. I mean, manufacturing costs for them will probably get better. I just don't know if our end price is going to get better. I mean, if we go in the pricing structure of Switch 1 to Switch 2, the light was $100 less. It was $200. The regular was 300. OLED was 350. So we come in at 350 for a light. Yikes.
Yeah. But that light is going to be a lot more premium than the original light.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it is. Because the two, I mean, it's upgraded in every way imaginable.
Yeah.
From the way it feels, the way it looks, the way it plays. I mean, it's everything. Everything's upgraded. It is worth the price. This is crazy, though.
I predict.
I can't believe somebody got a hold of this thing.
I predict we're not getting a Switch 2 OLED. Period. That's not happening. That was never supposed to happen, and it's not going to happen now. What's going to happen is going to be it's going to have an OLED screen, but it's going to be the Switch 2 Pro. Like I think it's a guaranteed stamp. Lock it in, unless we get another pandemic. Which, good Lord, knock on wood. Hopefully we don't do that. But like, I think
what do they call it? What do they call it?
The Switch 2 Pro.
They're not going to call it the Pro. I don't think
it better be the Super Switch. Or I'm calling a bullocks again. Like
the Super Switch 2. That would have been okay.
The Super Nintendo Switch 2.
That would be a good
marketing. Bring Paul Rudd back. It would be killer.
I mean, that would make more sense for this to be the Super Nintendo Switch.
Maybe that's why. Maybe my conspiracies. Maybe this is why they didn't call it this time around. They know.
Maybe. Hopefully.
They know it's in the horizon that the OLED was literally just a panic crap. We made stuff. We don't want it to go to waste. People want it. There's demand for it. So let's get the Switch OLED out, even though it's not what we wanted. That's what the OLED was. It was a panic crap. We had to change gears. What do we call it? I don't know. It's got an OLED screen in it. Call it the OLED. The Switch 2 Pro, or hopefully, good Lord, the Super Nintendo Switch 2, is going to be within the next 3 years, and it's going to have an OLED screen. It's going to have all the bells and whistles we don't have right now, and it's going to be $600 or more. Guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. 3 years. 3 years is optimistic. 3 is optimistic. 3 is optimistic, but I'm hoping before 2030. Good Lord, that we have a Super Nintendo Switch 2. In fact, Rip, I'm going to start my campaign right now. I know it's too early for this, but Super Nintendo Switch 2. Come on, come on.
I mean, I want it too. I'm with you. I wanted it with the first one. I'm with you. I don't know. I hope they call it that. This is crazy. I can't wait to see people who actually know more about this stuff make videos on this so I can watch them and learn.
Yeah, this is super early reactions. I'm guessing, and by the way, his video is currently at 111,000 views. I think when I watched it last night, it was at like 15 or 20,000. So like,
yeah.
His video's blowing up right now. It's going to go for I think this is going to be a 1 million view video easily. He's hit the gold mine here. And
yeah, everybody's going to be talking about
everyone's going to be talking about this for a long time until the release, maybe even after release. But yeah, this is huge. Crazy stuff. Yeah, this is our video, the extra video this week. Thanks you for watching. We appreciate you watching. Again, join our live streams every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got this far in a video, make sure to comment down below the word cow.
You say cow?
Cow. That's a horse. That's not a cow, it's a horse. Shit. I'll see you next week.
Every single show. Dreadlocks Zelda, sheetless is slow.